If your cat sheds so much that you've basically given up on wearing black, if you're finding fur on the couch, the counter, your dinner plate, if you're cleaning up hairballs or watching them scratch and overgroom until there are little bald patches, I want you to stay with me because there's one simple thing you can add to their bowl tonight that targets all three at once. It costs a few dollars, it takes about 10 seconds a day, and most cat owners have never been told to try it. I'm a vet, and this is honestly one of the first things I reach for when an owner tells me their cat's coat looks dull, greasy, or thin, or that the shedding has gotten completely out of control. I've watched this one change turn a dry, flaky, constantly scratching cat into a sleek, soft, comfortable one in about a month. But, and this matters more than anything else I'm going to say, there's a right way and a very wrong way to do it. Use the wrong product or the wrong amount, and you can upset their stomach or genuinely do harm. So stick with me all the way to the end because the order matters. I'll tell you exactly what to add, how to pick the right one on the shelf, the precise amount for your cat's size, what you'll see and when, and the quiet mistakes that ruin the results for most people. Let's get into it. First, let's clear something up because it changes everything. Heavy shedding and itchy, flaky skin are usually not just what cats do. They're a signal. Your cat's skin is a living barrier, a thin shield that locks moisture in and keeps irritants out. When that barrier is healthy, the coat lies flat, feels soft, and sheds at a normal, manageable rate. When it's dry and inflamed, the opposite happens. The skin flakes into dandruff, the hairs loosen and fall out in clumps, and your cat licks and scratches to soothe the itch, which pulls out even more fur. And here's the trap, that scratching and overgrooming actually damages the skin further, which makes it itch more, which makes them groom more. It becomes a cycle that feeds itself, and no amount of brushing breaks it because brushing only deals with the fur that's already loose. So what starts the cycle? A big one is diet. Most dry kibble is heavy on omega, 6 fats and very light on the omega, 3 S that actually calm inflammation and keep skin supple. Add in dry indoor air, especially with heating or air conditioning running all year, and a huge number of indoor cats are walking around slightly inflamed and slightly dehydrated in the skin all day, every day. That's the fur tsunami you're living with, and the bald patches, and the endless dandruff on their favorite blanket. Here's the good news. Because so much of it traces back to that one missing fat, it's often one of the easiest things in the world to improve, from the inside out. Which brings us to the one thing I want you to add. The thing I want you to add to your cat's bowl is omega-3, specifically a good fish oil or salmon oil. Now, you've probably heard omega-3 thrown around on every health label out there, so let me tell you why it actually works for this, because this isn't a gimmick. Fish oil is rich in 2 special fats called EPA and DHA. These are the exact building blocks your cat's body uses to rebuild that skin barrier. And, just as importantly, to switch off the low-grade inflammation that's driving the itch and the shedding. Your cat can't make enough of these on their own, and dry food barely provides them, so most cats are running low. Think of it this way. Brushing helps you manage the fur that's already loose, but brushing only ever treats the symptom. Omega-3 works on the cause. It goes to the root, calming the skin and strengthening it from the inside so fewer hairs loosen in the first place. That's why the effect is so different from a topical spray, a special shampoo, or one of those pricey de-shedding gadgets. You're not coating the outside and hoping. You're feeding the skin the exact thing it's been starved of. And here's the part owners really love. Because these fats calm inflammation everywhere in the body, the same few drops that fix the coat are quietly helping their joints, their heart, their kidneys, and even their brain as they age. One cheap add-in working on half a dozen fronts at once. But, and this is where a lot of people accidentally go wrong, not every fish oil on that shelf is right for a cat. Choosing the right oil matters more than you'd think, so let me make this simple and save you standing confused in the pet aisle. First, what to look for. You want a fish oil or salmon oil that clearly lists its EPA and DHA amounts right on the label in milligrams. Those two numbers are the active ingredients that do all the work. And if the bottle only says fish oil without them, you're just guessing at how strong it is. A product made specifically for cats and dogs is the easiest choice because the dosing is already sized for pets and it's usually a simple pump. A clean, high-quality human fish oil can absolutely work too, and it's often cheaper, but you'll need to measure a bit more carefully, and I'll show you how in a moment. Now, the big warning, and I want you to actually write this one down. Do not use cod liver oil. I know it sounds healthy, it sounds old-fashioned and wholesome, but cod liver oil is loaded with vitamin A and vitamin D, and cats are extremely sensitive to both. Give it every day, and you can slowly push them into real dangerous toxicity. So let's keep it crystal clear. Fish oil or salmon oil, yes. Cod liver oil, no. A couple more tips that make a real difference. A liquid you pump onto the food is usually easier and cheaper per dose than piercing little capsules every night. And freshness is everything. Omega-3 goes rancid surprisingly fast, and rancid oil does more harm than good. So buy a reputable brand with a real expiry date, give it a quick sniff, and always keep it in the fridge once it's open. Get the product right, and honestly, you're most of the way there. Okay, exactly how to add it, because this is where most of the success or failure actually happens. The golden rule is start low and go slow. Dumping a full dose on day one is the single fastest way to give your cat diarrhea, gross yourself out, and quit by Thursday convinced it doesn't work. So here's the plan. For the first 3 or 4 days, add just a few drops onto their food, a tiny amount, barely noticeable. If their stomach handles that fine, gradually work up over a week or two toward the full daily dose. As a rough guide, many cats do well around 20 to 40 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA per pound of body weight. For a typical 10-pound cat, that's often somewhere near a quarter of a teaspoon of a standard pet fish oil. But always, always follow the dosing chart on your specific product because concentrations vary wildly between brands. Now, getting them to eat it. Mix it into wet food if you can. The fishy smell usually makes it an easy sell, and a lot of cats will actually come running the second they hear the bottle. If your cat is the suspicious type that walks away from anything new, start with a single drop, let them get used to it, and build their trust over a week. 2 more small things that matter. Give it with a meal, not on an empty stomach, and once that bottle is open, keep it in the fridge and use it up within a couple of months. Do this consistently every single day, ideally with dinner so it becomes a habit, and you've done the hard part. Now, what should you actually expect to see and when? Here's the timeline, so you know it's working, and just as importantly, so you don't quit too early. The itching is usually the first thing to change. Many owners tell me they notice less scratching, less biting at the skin, and less of that frantic, obsessive over-grooming within just 1 to 2 weeks. That's the inflammation starting to settle. The coat itself takes a little longer because your cat physically has to grow healthier hair, and that takes time. Give it about 3 to 4 weeks and you'll start to see it turn glossy, feel softer under your hand, and lie flat and sleek instead of looking dry, dull, and spiky. And the shedding, the whole reason you clicked on this video, tends to ease off as that new, stronger coat grows in and the weak, brittle hairs stop falling out in clumps. You'll notice it first on the furniture, then on your clothes. A really nice bonus, because the fur is stronger and your cat is grooming less frantically, a lot of owners end up dealing with far fewer hairballs too. And don't forget those whole body benefits we talked about. You won't be able to see their joints or their kidneys, but the same omega-3 is working there quietly the whole time, which is a genuinely big deal for older cats and for any cat with early kidney changes. Now, one honest, important note, give it a fair 6 to 8 weeks before you decide whether it's working. Skin and coat turn over slowly, on their own biological schedule, and you can't rush it. If you add it for 4 days, see no miracle, and quit, you will miss the entire payoff. Consistency is the real secret ingredient here. Before you run off to the pet store, let me save you from the mistakes that cause almost every bad experience, because used carelessly, this can backfire. Mistake number 1, too much, too fast. More is not better. Overdo it, and you'll see loose stools, a greasy coat, and fishy breath. Back off and go slower. Mistake 2, the wrong product. We covered cod liver oil, but also skip anything rancid, unlabeled, or suspiciously cheap. If it smells sharp, bitter, or off, throw it out, because oxidized oil actually adds to the inflammation you're trying to fix. Choose a brand that's purified and tested for heavy metals like mercury. Mistake 3, and this one's genuinely important, timing around surgery. Omega-3 can thin the blood slightly, so if your cat has a procedure coming up or is on any blood thinning medication, pause it and clear it with your vet first. And the biggest one, don't use fish oil to paper over a different problem. If your cat is truly itchy and losing hair in patches, that can be fleas, mites, allergies, or a thyroid or skin condition, none of which fish oil will cure. So rule those out with your vet, especially if the shedding is sudden, patchy, or comes with scabs. And if your cat has kidney disease, diabetes, or any ongoing illness, talk to your vet about the right dose. Used correctly, it's one of the safest, most effective things you can add. Used carelessly, it's a mess. Now you know the difference. So let's bring it all home. If you're drowning in fur, if your cat's coat looks dull and lifeless, or they just won't stop scratching, the single, easiest, cheapest change you can make tonight is to add a good, fresh fish oil or salmon oil to their bowl. Start with just a few drops, build up slowly over a couple of weeks to the right dose for their size, skip the cod liver oil, keep it in the fridge, and give it a solid 6 to 8 weeks before you judge it. That's the whole thing. It's cheap, it's simple, it takes 10 seconds a day, and unlike a brush or a shampoo, it works on the actual cause instead of chasing the symptom. So here's your one job for this week. Pick up a quality fish oil, check that it lists EPA and DHA on the label, and start tonight with just a few drops on dinner. Then come back and tell me, how does your cat's coat look and feel after 2 weeks? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely read them, and I answer as many as I can. And if this finally helped you understand the shedding instead of just fighting a losing battle with a lint roller, do me one favor and subscribe. Every week I break down the simple, science-backed things that actually make your cat healthier, calmer, and happier. Your cat can't say thank you, but that soft, shiny new coat will say it for them. I'll see you in the next one.